Hi, this is Terry Gibbs, and in my ongoing series of how to get a constant stream of people to sell you their old toy trains, I'm going to share another one of these strategies with you about how I bought this set of trains. This is a Lionel 1932 standard gauge 392E and the baby state cars. All right, and I got this set, and I'm going to tell you about this set right here, which is a 1915 era, number 7, this top line engine from the teens, and it comes with the 3 olive cars, which usually the 7 locomotive would have had a set of orange cars, but a lot of people just bought these green cars. Instead of you looking at my face as I talk, I'm going to point the camera at the trains and let you see the trains while I talk. Now, this 392 engine and its cars, the owner had this train on eBay or on Craigslist for 6 months and was trying to sell it when he called me. And he actually had a fair price on it. He wanted $1,000 for it, which I have all the boxes. And if you look way back over there behind that Hellgate Bridge, there's a whole bunch of freight cars back in there. I got a bunch of those from him too. There was like a half a dozen of those. But anyway, the problem that the seller had was that he also had a bunch of post-war Lionel trains, mostly cheap ones, and he also had a huge amount of LGB backyard trains. And he was trying to sell everything in one big lot, and no one was willing to do that. So he had it on Craigslist for months and months and months, and then he called me. He sent me pictures. He wasn't in Phoenix. He was out of town, so I hadn't seen his ad. But he sent me pictures of this train, and I just said, I want that train. I don't want all this other stuff that he had. The freight cars, some of them ended up on the layout, some of them I sold. But I looked at everything he had and decided that if I gave him a few thousand, 2,500, maybe 3 for everything, I could sell everything off and keep this set of trains and basically get it for free. And so this is the concept that I want to introduce today, is that if you're willing to do the work and you have the money to put out to do these deals, you can get these trains basically for free. And that's the story on this one. I paid the guy $2,600, sold everything that I didn't want on eBay for close to $4,000. So I made a little money, not much. And then I have this set, which this is my favorite engine, is the 392 with the chugger in it. So I have that to play with. And that's just a gorgeous set of trains. Now let's walk down here and we'll talk about the 7 set. This set is not as nice as the 392. The boiler's been cleaned and they wiped originally it has a clear coating on it so the brass and the nickel doesn't tarnish. And somewhere over the line, over the years, that had been wiped off and polished. The red on it has been repainted. Now the story on this is it's from a hardware store in Western Ohio, and it ran around the ceiling in there. They sold trains, and they had this train running around the ceiling into the late 50s. Chances are really good because the cars don't match the engine, that the store sold the orange cars that would have went with this. And then in the early 20s, when they went to reorder another set of orange cars, they no longer made them. But anyway, this is a wonderful set of trains, even in this condition, which is not very nice. It looks better than it does in the video. even in this condition, this set of trains is worth probably about 22 to 2500. And again, the story with this is that the gentleman's grandfather that owned the hardware store, his father played with HO trains and had hundreds of HO engines, mostly junk engines, Athearn, Roundhouse, Tyco, Varney, just crap from the 50s. And worse than that, everything had been painted so it had the name of his 3 kids on it. And then he also liked coal trains, so he had over 3,000 HO hopper cars, all of which had the name of one of his 3 kids painted on the side of it and a different number. And he was having problems selling this. He showed up at a train meet with pictures of the trains and nobody wanted anything to do with it. And again, I was able to go in there. I filled up a big van load of trains, and then I went to a show. I sold the HO cars first time out for $3 each, 6 or more for $2. And I sold the HO engines for prices between $5 and $60, and just dumped all that stuff. It took me 3 shows to get rid of everything, selling it that cheap. And I ended up selling the engines that were left over for $5 a piece and the cars for $1, $2 each, but $1 if you bought 12 or more. And so again, I ended up getting this set of trains. I think after everything was said and done, I made about $2,000 on the deal, and I got this set of trains. Now I have other sevens that are in better shape than this. I just kept it because it's a headlight variation. But there's an example of being able to get trains at a deal if you're willing to do the work. A lot of people just want to go in and buy 1 or 2 pieces. They don't want to spend the time going to train shows. They don't want to spend the time going to eBay. If you're willing to do that work, you can get trains by buying the volumes of trains. So thanks for listening. Continue to subscribe to these YouTube videos. I have more of these tips and techniques about buying trains coming up in the future, and we'll start doing some history of the toy trains too. Thank you.